As someone who has played a lot of video games, there are like a couple that, or there are a couple franchises, I should say, that I never really got into, and it's almost kind of like sacrilege, in a sense, to like not enjoy those franchises and like consider yourself like a gamer or whatever, or even just like a fan of a certain company. And I think probably the most egregious of those is probably The Legend of Zelda, which is weird because it's not like, oh, well, I grew up with PlayStation and therefore I never really played like a Mario game or a Zelda game or something because I, just played PlayStation stuff, right, or Xbox stuff. I grew up with Nintendo consoles and I just never really got into Zelda. It just kind of never happened. And I kind of wanted to talk about that and just why I never really gave it like a chance. And I think part of it is like things that were out of my control, and part of it was things that were in my control, and I don't know. I think there are some like core problems that I have with the franchise, but I think it's also maybe I never really got into the right ones, as I'll talk about later. But so I think one of my biggest issues with Zelda is that it's just very like open and just kind of you can go and do whatever you want. And that's kind of like not true of some of them, but I think like to me Breath of the Wild is like really what I think of when I think of this, because there was like a big debate years ago where it was kind of like, is Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild better? And like most people would say, oh, Breath of the Wild is better because Breath of the Wild's like one of the best games ever made. And for me personally, I never really enjoyed that. And I kind of wanted to use like this example of like kind of like parenting, but it'll make sense, trust me. But basically there are kind of like these there's like a spectrum kind of like parenting where there is like authoritative parenting, right? And it is like you are going to do this thing, right? You are going to become a lawyer, and you are going to take like piano classes, and you are going to go to, you do extra school, like Sunday school or some shit, right? And that is like authoritative parenting, because it's like you are like setting yourself into this specific thing. You are doing this one thing and that is it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's permissive parenting, which is basically like, okay, you just got free reign, you do whatever you want. And, the problem with that, right, is it's like, now you have this endless freedom because you can do whatever you want. And for some people, that's a good thing, because it's like, okay, well, I can do whatever I want. So I'm just going to go and, do the thing I want to do. But sometimes people kind of need that push. And I'm like one of those people where you kind of need that push a little bit into like a direction. And so it's like, I don't want to be like confined into, you have to do this one thing. But I also don't want to be like, you can do anything that you want and you can go anywhere that you want and you can do anything. And that kind of sums up like my core problem with Zelda. I think in terms of games, I don't mind when something is like very rigid and like, this is what we want you to experience, this is it, right? I think that's fine. Like I for example, I like visual novels, and that's like, you're just going through text and, there's like branching paths and stuff, but it's not in the same vein, And then there's stuff, a lot of open world games, for example, like Skyrim, I never really got into, because it's just, you get through the intro, and the intro is pretty cool and all that, right? Oh, you're finally awake, and all that shit, and there's a dragon, and you go through this fucking cave, and then it's like, you just kind of have free reign to do whatever you want. And for some people, that's awesome, because it's like, dude, I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. I can, fucking murder these NPCs. I can, I can like get like a fucking dragon wife or some shit. I think you can like marry fucking NPCs in Skyrim or some shit, right? I can do whatever the fuck I want, and then you can like mod the game too. But like for me, it's just I just get very bored because it just kind of feels like I'm just wandering around aimlessly and like I'm just kind of not really doing much. And I feel like the same really applies to like Breath of the Wild, for example, because when I first started playing that game, I got it for the Switch like on launch. Like I got the Switch on launch day, which I didn't even want. But my mom got it for me as like an early birthday present because it came out like 3 or 4 days before my birthday. And I was like, that's, that's cool, I guess. But like the thing about the Switch launch titles was that they were all garbage. It was like 1-2 Switch, which, why'd they charge $50 for that? And then there was like Snipper Clips, which is cool, but like I was mostly playing games on my own. And I think there was like 1 or 2 more games. Oh, it was Super Bomberman R. That game kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I think some people like liked it, but I don't know, man. I never got into that game. Fuck. Damn it. I felt the cough coming. I don't know what has been up my coughing recently. Ever since I got sick, I get like coughs, like sneezes now, where it's like I can feel it coming, and I'm like, oh god damn it, it's coming. So, yeah, I'm trying to mute those so that you don't have to hear that. But every now and then it happens. Which I'm gonna take a sip of water, I guess, because I have to. I have to at this point. Fuck, I thought I was gonna be able to do this, but no. Apparently today was not my day. In terms of the voice, it didn't last very long. But, so anyways, as I was saying before, I got a little distracted there, right? I feel like that openness was always the thing that kind of really put me off with Zelda, because Breath of the Wild was pretty much all I had for the Switch launch. Like, that was basically it. And so I started playing Breath of the Wild, and I thought it was pretty fun. Like, I thought it was cool. I thought, like, it definitely looks like a very good game, for the Switch. Like, it looks very good. The art style is pretty cool, and I thought it was kind of cool the way that they kind of like reinvented Zelda in a way. But at the same time, it just got boring to me. Like, I was like, okay, I'm just kind of walking around and like, fighting some stuff. And it's like, it's kind of cool to explore the open world, but then you realize the open world is really just kind of like barren, because it's like when you have a world that massive, you can't fill it with things like every fucking corner. And so you're essentially just kind of left with, this is a mostly open field, but then there's like some stuff in the field that you can do. And it's like, to some people that's cool, but to me, I just kind of look at that and I'm just like, that's boring. Like, what I prefer is a much more like tightly packed level, but like every little corner has something. And I think Mario Odyssey really speaks to that, which is why, personally, I would say I much prefer Mario Odyssey. Like, Mario Odyssey, one of my favorite games, like, ever, period. And in comparison to Breath of the Wild, I didn't even get very far in Breath of the Wild. Like, I didn't beat a fucking Divine Beast or whatever the fuck it is. I did, like, some of the trials and stuff. I never really got that far. I got maybe, like, 20 hours into it, and a lot of that was just me exploring. It wasn't me, like, just fucking beelining the main quest. And I think a lot of that really comes down to me just wanting that, like, tightly packed, exciting experience over just this big world of stuff that's kind of spread out and spread kind of thin. And when you look at Mario Odyssey, right, there's every single, like, little corner, there is something. There is, even if it's just some coins or some purple coins, or just you find a random moon somewhere, like, everything feels like there is a purpose. It doesn't feel like they made this kingdom and didn't really put a lot into it. Maybe you could argue like Ruined, I guess, but Ruined is basically just there for the dragon fight, and that's kind of it. And so what I ultimately feel is that Zelda for me is just a little too open, and I think this even extends beyond Breath of the Wild, because I think probably the Zelda game I played the second most was Ocarina of Time 3D, the 3DS one. And I mean, people say like Ocarina of Time, one of the best games ever made, you know, great, like maybe greatest game of all time. And I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know. I feel like part of it was me being a stupid kid, because I never really like figured out where to go. I think I got through like are they called Gorons? I think like the fucking, you know, the big guys that like, I think they roll or something. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I played Ocarina of Time. But like, I played it, and then I didn't know where to go, and I just kind of gave up. And like, I guess I could have like Googled a walkthrough or something, but like that was back when I wasn't really using the internet as much as like I would now. And realistically, I just kind of, you know, I was just kind of done. And I did play a little bit of Majora's Mask as well, which I think Majora's Mask I kind of like, because I feel like it tries to do some different things. And it kind of feels a little more of that like packed design, maybe not like so much just kind of open world. And it just feels like it's one of those things, right, where I think it's just I prioritize different things than other people. Like some people, they care a lot about like graphics and like feeling like this is a really like big achievement in gaming. And like I feel like Ocarina of Time would be like kind of a big achievement, because it's like these, you know, open areas, like big open worlds you could just ride around on a horse going through, you know, all this shit, right? That's cool. But when I care about stuff, it's like I care more about like how the game feels and how the game plays, and like how it's sort of designed, I guess, is what I would say. For some people, it's just you dangle, you know, graphics or like impressive things in front of them, and that's what they care about with the game. And it's just, for me, it doesn't really excite me that much, you know? That's kind of just what I feel, ultimately. I don't really enjoy the game that much, really. I just have a hard time enjoying a lot of those open world games. Like Cyberpunk, I remember people telling me that Cyberpunk was like the second coming of fucking Jesus. And then it came out, and it was a buggy mess. And I mean, it's gotten much better now, sure, right? It's gotten much better now. But I still just don't really care. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't really excite me. I mean, like, the aesthetic is kind of cool, but I don't really care about Cyberpunk, because to me, I don't really care about this fucking big open world of like nothing. Or I mean, I guess to be fair, it's probably not like nothing, because I mean, it's a city, right? But I feel like it's not that exciting. And I feel like I almost kind of feel the same way about Legend ZA, which maybe is a little off topic here. But like, I kind of was interested. I was like, okay, this is going to be like a city, and it's going to be like packed with all this cool stuff. And it kind of is. But then it also feels kind of barren at times too. And so, I don't know. It's kind of like a mix for me. But I at least like it more than something like Breath of the Wild, because I feel like Breath of the Wild is very, like, a little too open in my opinion. And I feel like it's kind of the same way with OOT, not to the same extent. But I feel like in terms of that similar kind of scope, I find it is very similar, at least to me. And this is kind of where I want to segue into, as I mentioned, right, I played OOT as a kid. And I actually did play a fair amount of Zelda games as a kid. So, for example, I played some Zelda 1, but, you know, Zelda 1, it's kind of cryptic. It's kind of you know, I can appreciate it, but it's something I just kind of like. I would just get lost and wander around aimlessly and just fight stuff. That was kind of it. I mainly played it because they had the 3DS Ambassador program, which was Nintendo's way of saying sorry, we charged you too much, and we're gonna lower the price on the 3DS now because we realized we kind of fucked up, but we have to do something. So here's a bunch of NES games and GBA games. Sorry. And yeah, so they did that, and I played a fair amount of Zelda 1 on my 3DS just because, like, what else are you gonna do on the 3DS? It wasn't that much. At least at the time, there wasn't that much. But that also came with Zelda 2. And Zelda 2 is kind of, you know, Zelda 2. I know there are a lot of people that kind of like Zelda 2. For me, it's just, I don't really like Zelda 2 that much. It kind of is just, to me, it was an interesting idea, but it didn't really excite me very much. And then there's Ocarina of Time, as I mentioned, which I kind of liked, but it's just, I felt it was too open and I had no idea what to do. And, I mean, Majora's Mask was pretty similar to that. I got it for free on, like, Club Nintendo before they shut down Club Nintendo. That was kind of cool. But it's just, I don't know, I never really, like, got fully immersed into it, and I never really understood what to do. And maybe that was just me being a dumb kid, but that was what happened with me, you know? And, I did, going back to the Ambassador program on the 3DS, I did actually like playing Minish Cap. I thought that was pretty fun, but then I just kind of never really got into it, and I never really bothered playing it. I played, like, Fire Emblem more, which, why the fuck what? Why did I play Fire Emblem? And then when I was playing Fire Emblem, I realized, like, I like killed a character on accident. I realized it was permadeath, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I kept trying to restart to, like, not have characters die, and then I just fucking gave up eventually. But never really got into Minish Cap. I wanted to get Skyward Sword back when I was a kid, because it had a golden Wii remote, and I was like, whoa. And, I didn't get Skyward Sword at Christmas. I don't know if my parents didn't get it. I don't know if they didn't want me to have it. I don't know. But they didn't get me Skyward Sword. And so I was like, well, I guess I won't play Skyward Sword. To this day, I've never played Skyward Sword. So, I got Spirit Tracks, that one on the DS. I got it at a flea market one time. And I played it once. And I think it was like, there was a guy's file already on it, and I kind of just had no idea what I was doing. I just gave up, and I didn't play the game again. So basically, I think you're kind of seeing a pattern here of what I'm doing, which is I'm not really giving these games much of a chance. I'm just kind of not bothering. And I think that kind of leads into, oh, I almost forgot, Link Between Worlds I did play, which I thought was alright, but I just kind of, like, never really got into it and just stopped playing it. Again, you're kind of seeing the trend here. And then, of course, there's Breath of the Wild, but, you know, as I've said, right, it's just really open. And I think the other big problem I had, because I actually tried to play Breath of the Wild, like, a couple of years ago, and I tried to play it, and I was kind of enjoying it. I was kind of getting into it a little bit. And then I stopped. And then I didn't pick it up again for a couple days. And I picked it up again, and I had no idea. I completely forgot what I was doing, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, and I kind of don't want to play. So I stopped playing. And I didn't really, you know, play it again. And for me, what really made the switch was not Breath of the Wild. It was the other stuff. And it wasn't even really Mario Kart. Like, I got Mario Kart when it came out, and I played it a little bit, and it was like, alright, but I don't know. I haven't really gotten into a Mario Kart since like Mario Kart 7. And I have Mario Kart World on the Switch too. I haven't even launched it. I don't care. It came with the system. Cool. I don't really care about Mario Kart. I'm just saying it. I don't care about Mario Kart. But for me, like what really made the Switch for me was Mario Odyssey, and then, the Pokemon games and some other stuff, some other like little games here and there. But for me, Mario Odyssey was really like the thing that made the Switch compared to, like what most people's Breath of the Wild was. That was my Mario Odyssey. So, but this kind of segues into me thinking maybe I think part of my problem with Zelda was that maybe I was just playing the wrong ones, because I feel like there are Zelda games where they have that kind of like pack design where it's like every little place has something interesting, something to do, right? And I feel like that was kind of something that a lot of the top-down Zeldas did, and I just never really played them. For example, there's Link to the Past. I've always kind of been interested in Link to the Past, and I never really played it, but it always kind of interested me, and it was especially interested me because I remember back as a kid, I was really into the Mario and Luigi games, and I remember I had this dream once, and it was like a Mario and Luigi game, but then it also had Link in it, and it was called Mario and Luigi: A Link to the Past. And then fast forward like maybe a week later, I was like browsing the Wii Shop channel when that existed. Rest in peace, the Wii Shop channel. We'll never forget you. But I was browsing that, and then I saw A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I was like, oh my god, whoa, it's a real game. And that was when I found out that Link to the Past is a real game, and it wasn't just a figment of my imagination. So that was something. But I feel like that game probably speaks to me a lot more. I feel like the level design and the mechanics, I feel like, would speak to me a lot more than something like Breath of the Wild. And there's also, as I mentioned, right, Minish Cap. I actually kind of liked Minish Cap, and maybe at some point I should go back and play it. I don't know. That might be a thing someday. And there's also Winks. There's also Link's Awakening. I feel like that might actually be like very up my alley. Pretty similar to A Link to the Past. I don't know why I can't speak. That, I think, would maybe be another like really good entry point to the franchise for me. And I think ultimately what I want to maybe get across is that I think there are some problems I have with Zelda. I think, to me, it doesn't really seem like as much of a franchise for me. But I also think there are some very interesting things about the franchise and things that I would be interested in trying. And I really just need to decide to load up the fucking, the game. So maybe that's something I'm going to do. Like, maybe I'll just start taking my Switch too, and I'll just play some Link to the Past. I'll just start playing Link to the Past and see if I enjoy it. And I think also at some point it would be worth giving Ocarina of Time another chance, probably, and Majora's Mask as well. I think I really fuck with the Majora's Mask aesthetic a lot more, but it's just, I just can't, I don't know how much I can get into like the open world stuff and all that, but we'll see. We'll see. I think ultimately what I think is that I kind of never really gave the franchise a fair chance. And I think part of that was because I played the wrong ones, and also because I never got the ones that maybe would have been good. Like, if I had bought Link to the Past on Virtual Console, maybe I'd be singing a totally different tune. Even if I didn't finish Link to the Past, because, like, I didn't finish Mario RPG. I didn't really know about Mario RPG until I saw it on the Wii Shop channel, and I was like, whoa, I gotta buy this, and I bought it. it was fun. And like I never finished it, but it was fun. I liked it. And I think that they, you know, if I had gone through with playing Link to the Past, maybe I'd have a little bit of a different opinion on Zelda. At least, like, kind of. You know, maybe I would have really liked the Link's Awakening remake or something, like, if I got into that. But I didn't. And I guess I kind of regret it. Maybe. I don't know. But I think that might be something that's worth looking into down the line, potentially. So, maybe that's what I'll do. I have a couple other franchises like this, so I guess if you're interested to hear me talk about stuff that I never got into and why I never got into it and what I think might be appealing, I guess let me know if you want to hear that. Because, for example, never really got into Final Fantasy. Also, another Nintendo franchise, too, that I never really got into was Kirby that much. Like, I got into it more than Zelda. Like, I did actually play some Kirby games. But there's still a lot of like Kirby I never really got to play, and I always wanted to play a lot of Kirby games as a kid, and I never really got them. But you know, I'll save that for another time. But I just feel like Zelda never really got like a real chance in my eyes, and maybe that was a mistake. But I don't know. Look, I really liked Mario. What can I say? Like, if you put a Zelda game and a Mario game in front of my eyes, I'm picking the Mario game. Like, I mean, New Super Mario Bros. And, like, Mario Party and, like, Mario Galaxy, Mario 64, even Mario Sunshine, even though maybe that'll be its own video. Who knows? If fucking... I still have never 100% of Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine, that'll be its own video, maybe. Maybe at some point. But I really like Mario. And compared to Zelda, I'm kind of eh. So, I don't know. But, we'll see. Maybe I'll talk about that in a future video. But at some point, I'm also going to talk about... I haven't finished this yet. But, talking about potentially, you know, are video games maybe just a giant waste of time? Maybe I should just stop playing video games altogether. I don't know. Also, I forgot, too. At some point, I got to talk about Sonic. Because I also never really gave Sonic a real chance, even though I had a lot of Sonic games. So, and that one... I think you'll understand why I never really got into Sonic when you know the first Sonic game I really played. Because, I won't spoil it, but, yeah. So, anyways, I think that's it. I think that's really all I had to say. Maybe I'll give Zelda a real chance. I guess if there are any games that I might be more into in the Zelda franchise, I guess, you know, recommend them or whatever below. But, yeah, I guess that's it.